The ongoing basis of dysfunctional human relationships. The causes, of course, are the effects of sin. And there are two types of sin effects in our world. There are what I call the apparent random effects: storms, earthquakes, floods, wildfires, tsunamis, things like that. And then there are the direct effects of sin, which would be, there's two categories of that. There are the first category of the direct effects of sin are what I call impiety. And impiety is simply sinning and suffering our own consequences, okay? Carelessness, laziness, recklessness, things like that. But then there's another category of the direct effects of sin, and that's oppression. And that's when you sin and force others to suffer the consequences. Or that's when you force your sin on other people. Does that make sense? All right. Rape is an example of that. All right. Now let's make some observations about oppression. First of all, oppression. What is oppression? Oppression is sin plus power. All right. And therefore it is driven by power struggles, our old friend. How does oppression affect the people who are oppressed? Well, let's say what happens is that, everybody's got options in life, right? Everybody's got options in life. And let's say each of us in this room has 10 options. If we're not oppressed, then say maybe 8 of the 10 options are going to be good, 2 are going to be bad. If I blindfold you and told you to randomly pick from your options, chances are you're going to pick a good option, aren't you? Because they're overwhelmingly good. But if you're oppressed, what happens is that reverses. 8 of your options become bad, 10 become good. Put you in another situation, blindfold you, chances are you're going to choose some bad options. If you're in the hood and you want to be gainfully employed, there's no industry anywhere except for one, the illicit drug trade. So you're going to start off as a hopper. And then you're going to be this or that, and eventually you get your own little corner, and on and on and on. So that's what oppression does. And the foundation of oppression is our old friend creatureism. Creatureism, all right? If you are the standard of judgment for everybody else, then everybody else is inferior by definition. Does that make sense? If yours is the standard of judgment for everything else, then everything else is inferior by definition. Why? Because nobody can be you as well as you can be you. Nothing can be yours as well as yours is yours, right? Does that make sense? All right. So creatureism is our problem. And creatureism, let's go back to creatureism. Remember creatureism? When you judge everything, including the Creator himself, by the standard of the creature, right? So now creatureism has several manifestations. I'll just give you a few. Meism, judging others by the standard of myself. Cultureism, judging other cultures by the standard of my culture. Sexism, judging the other gender by the standard of my gender. Racism, judging the other races by the standard of my race. Am I making sense here? And ethnocentrism, judging other people groups by the standard of my people group. It's interesting, when you read the Bible, you see that Israel was plagued by ethnocentrism constantly. They were plagued by ethnocentrism. You see, God said that you are to be Israelites because you're chosen. See, to be an Israelite was a response to God's grace. But guess what they thought? Guess what they thought? They thought they were chosen because they were Israelites. That's ridiculous. If you're in Christ, you're one of God's chosen people, are you not? Did God choose you because you're a Christian? No. If you believe that, then you're going to bust hell wide open. There's no salvation in being a Christian, right? You should be a Christian because God chose you. To be a Christian is a response to God's grace. Does that make sense? All right. And that's what we do. We constantly reverse things like that.